Edge Mesh Decals, quickest way to add edgewear to your meshes, now available in XDP. So here we are, but before I go into the Edge Mesh Decals, I want to briefly go over some of the new features that have been added since the last video I made, starting with this first top here section where I added a way to change the saving folder so that it can work with teams. If you're using a revision control, it's a way to save your INI files in a shareable folder rather than the local machine. So this is what this is for. If you guys are working as a team and want to share your saved parameters. Now, another thing that I did is I created shortcuts that are easier to hop between some of the modes here. So if I go back to Shift 1, which is the standard selection mode, you can come here and select XDecal Paint from the drop-down, XPlacer and XGizmo, but I do have now a shortcut for that, Shift D for XDP, Shift F for XPlacer, and spacebar D, spacebar F, and spacebar G for the gizmo. So it's an easier way to hop between modes. Again, Shift 1, you go back to the selection mode, spacebar D, you're in XDP. So moving along from there, I want to show you what's new in path layout. So path layout has a new path type. If I just increase the spacing here to something larger, before you only had the straight two clicks. So if I just click on one place and then click on another, you get this array of decals. Now you also have something called drag draw, which basically allows you to simply draw along a spline. And everything now in path layout is also in real time. So if I just change some of these parameters, you'll see that everything is changing in real time. If I press the E key on this spline, I can use these points, these crosshairs that are on the spline to maneuver it and place it exactly where I want, and the decals follow along. So this is a nice addition to how you can set up your decals. Now, as I said, everything's in real time. So if I come back to here to the material itself, I can change, for example, the rotation here, the scaling, or anything else that pertains to the path layout parameters and the material parameters and the filters, and everything else is now real time in both the path layout and the region fill. Another thing that I added here in the path layout is if I come and just draw a simple line, and we can increase the path lane to 2, for example, and increase the path lane spacing. Right now, the decals are all facing in the same direction, and you can change that by hitting this flip facing on negative lane. So if I do that, the decals on one side flip, so they don't face in the same direction. So this is a nice little toggle here to know about. Below that, we have the region fill. Now, region fill is also, as I said, activated in real-time preview. So if I just click around here and click C to close that region, you'll see that my region is filled with these decals, and I can change everything I want in this area here. I can change the density, I can change the clustering, I can let's increase, for example, I have this now, the region fill loop line thickness, so I can increase that, so in case you can't see the region very well. And let's increase the region edit radius, so I can just pull some of these points here, and you can see that the decals are updating automatically. I can add points as well by hitting the Alt key and just adding them on the line, and you can see that this region is updating automatically as I'm changing any of these parameters. So that's with that part of region fill. Now the other part of added and region fill is that now you can save your region. So if I come here, there's a region fill stroke library. If I right click anywhere in the content browser here, then I can right click on the miscellaneous, and here there is a data asset. Once you click on that, you can drag it here, name your region to whatever you want, and then just save it, and then just retrieve it through this load region whenever you want. So this is another way to keep track of these regions for either your team members or yourself later on as you progress in your projects. And the other thing that I did add is this import section here, which is collapsible, so it doesn't clutter the area too much. But what it does is it allows you to import a JSON or a DXF file with the region. This is great for ArcViz, for example, if there's changes to regions according to how the plans are progressing, then you don't have to redraw those regions around the main architectural area or inside an architectural or interior. They're just there, and they just you just import them as those plans change. You also have this from selected splines. So if you're creating splines using blueprints or PCG, then just selecting them and then just clicking on from selected splines, then those splines turn into regions as well. So that's also a very nice way to create decals in those regions from splines created in any other way. What else? Let me see. I think those are the major things that I've added. There's quite a few other little things here and there, but these are the major ones, and lots of things always under the hood. So now let's move into the main part of this tutorial, which is the mesh edge decals. Now, for those who don't know, mesh edge decals is the way to add edgewear or details on edges on meshes, and it is a very optimized and easy way to do it. And now with XDP, it becomes really easy and very versatile way of adding those decals. All these tools are activated using Control 1 through 5, and mesh edge decals are activated using Control 5. So once you do that, you are presented with a circle, and wherever you roll over or hover over an edge, it gets highlighted. And you have two ways to actually place the decals. You have the preview and commit, which basically works more or less like the region fill and the path layout, where everything works in real time. And once you hit commit, then they become actual decals. Otherwise, they're just sort of placeholders for the actual decals. You can also change that to immediate, which allows you to change and have decals immediately placed in the environment. Below that, you have the edge selection. So this is basically how you're going to be selecting those edges. So you have three ways. You have individual, chain, and loop. And I'm going to take you through all of these steps. So first of all, I want to open the material instance here. And now the XDP edge mesh decals comes with the mesh decal, and also the material and material instance, and two textures. And I'm going to show you how you can make your own textures. The great thing about how it's done is that you have basically 7 types of edge decals, all one texture sheet. So you can scroll through them, and I'm going to show you an example. And again, I'll show you how you can set up your own if you wanted to do more of these edge decals, which I'm sure you would. So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to come here to the visualizer, and I'm going to click this visualizer on. And what this visualizer does is it allows us to actually see more clearly the mesh decal itself. Now, one more thing, by default, the mesh edge decal uses the material instance that comes with the project. Now, you can add your decals as you would normally do, just drag and drop them into the material slots here. And once you do that, these decals override the default material on the decal mesh here. So just bear that in mind. If you have decals up here, you can disable them in order to actually see the default material. And I'm going to tell you something about that default material. It is a special material, and if you are going to use your own mesh decal materials, I'm going to also show you which parts you would need to copy so that you have also some of this functionality work in your own bespoke decal materials. As I said, let's go with the individual here. I'm just going to click on an edge, and you can see that we have this sort of edge, floating edge on top of this cube here. So what you can do, of course, is you can play with the repeat world length, which here in the details, you'll see you have the world space repeat spacing. And what this does is it allows you to have a way to control the decal tiling irrespective of the edge length. So I'm going to show you that also in a while, but let's first come here to the uniform scale, and let's scale that down, and let's add another edge, maybe another one here, and another one here, and another one here, and another one here, and another one here. So you can see that just by clicking on these edges, I can easily and very quickly lay down these edge decals. Now, this is in individual mode. If I come, and I can just hit the escape key and they're all gone. If I come here to loop, I won't use chain yet because chain I'll show you the chain in another on the next mesh here. So loop basically just loops around the edges, and again, if I just click on them, you'll see that I get your my edge mesh decals very quickly placed on this cube. And one thing to note is that any shared edges do not duplicate the edge mesh decals. If I come here again and hit on chain, let's close this guy here. Let's come to the arch here, and I'm just going to click on the arch outside, and you can see that I get this nice edge decal. And here, if you notice that, and we can change the amount of tiling here, again, using the repeat world length. And what I wanted to show you is that if I come back to the individual here, you'll see that this edge is obviously this height, and then these edges here all have different lengths, and yet it still maintains the same tiling throughout this whole chain of edges. So that's partly done through a computation inside the plugin in tandem with the actual material itself. And that's why I said that if you are going to make your own and you do want to have a world space repeat spacing, you would need to copy some parts of that material into your own. So I'm just going to continue first and just go through all this parameters here. One other thing here, as you can see, we have, for example, this the end of this decal is cut in half, and this snap repeat count to whole edge, if I click on that, you'll see that now we have a nice uniform tiling of the whole of the edge here that doesn't cut off the or the end part of any decal by clicking on this button, because it maintains the edge, the whole edge, and rounds off the length. So you also have the ability here to change the width and the height independent of the uniform scale. So it's independent. So if I come here and just add a width scale, you can see I can add that here, or I can go to 0 and just increase the height. So again, lots of things that you can play with. And lastly, you have this lift fine tune space, which basically allows you to lift that decal by any amount you want, and the defaults are 0.5 and negative 0.5. You can of course change them. Now, so what you'll notice is that the edges that I have been selecting are the outer edges of the meshes here, and if I come here to select the inner edges, I can't select them. And the reason is that the inner edges use a different sort of detection algorithm, and you need to turn on render mesh edge topology in order to do that detection. So once you do that, then you also have the ability to detect the inner edges, and when you click on them, you get the same result. Now, there are times on the inner edges that, for example, you may have some that are not correctly aligned. You can click as many times as you want, and they will be replaced. And usually, most of the times, it gets it correct. But in case it doesn't, for example, if I come here to the individual, and let's start with this, and let's add some. So for example, no, that's correct. If there's one that doesn't, so for example, this one in individual mode didn't, you can use the / key just to flip that decal in the right direction. So in case that happens, just use the / key just to flip the decal into the correct position. So that's what that render mesh topology does here. It's for the inner edges, and it also has a independent lift topology for the inner edges. So the inner edges here are independently lifted from the non-topology detected edges. So that's how that works. As you can see, it really is, very easy to put those edge decals and get those details in. So I'm just going to come here. Let's just come here and turn off now the visualizer. I'm going to turn on the chain, and let's start with the outer. And I'm just going to click on this arch, and let's start playing with some of these parameters here. Let's get a little closer maybe, and let's change the size, and let's repeat world. I think we need to get a little bigger. Let's also change the normal strength here maybe, and maybe this is too big. Somewhere here maybe is nice. So here you can see the difference between an asset that does have this nice edge, and if I just escape, you'll see just this raw perfect clinical edge. Again, with it you can see the difference. And here is where this material has its strength. I can come here to the normal variation, for example, and I just go through these other normals here. There's 7, and you can just play around with them. For example, this could be nice, but if, for example, this is also maybe nice, but obviously our strength is too strong, so we can just lower that down. And you can do the same with the masks here. So here I have 7 different types of masks, and again, I'll show you how I did that. It's very easy for you to create your own. So I just wanted to quickly show you the result. Let's maybe change that to something like that, something maybe a little more subtle. Let's increase the strength, and here let's increase this to something like that maybe. And if you come here, you can see the difference. And for example, if we come here and let's see if there's anything interesting here. No, not the 3D. Surface is concrete. What do we have here? Materials. So if I come here to the arch and just throw in this material here, and let's tile this guy a little more because it doesn't seem to be nicely tiled. So you can see that if I just remove the outer edge here, the mesh decal, you can see the difference, right? I mean, you can see how clinical this looks, as opposed to just me just clicking once and then having this nice strong normal that blends really nicely with and maybe this now I've changed it, but you can find one that suits your needs and create the effect you want, again without with. So and we can try it also for the inner. So here again, let's move this guy. So you can see, right? I mean, the difference is day and night, and it's just so easy to do. Now, the last thing that I did not mention, I forgot, is the bake. So once you're done, once you've committed, once you've, now we have 56 decals, mesh decals in the level, you can commit. Once you do that, you immediately see that we've transferred from preview to mesh decals 56, and then you have them all here in the arch. And if I hit the bake, then you can see that we have just one now hierarchical instant static mesh that represents that bunch of decals, and they are grouped under the main mesh, so you can adjust them and move them. So that's it from how this works. Now I'm just going to quickly show you how I got to make those decals. Here, first of all, I want to show you something else. The material. Here we are in the material, and if I come here, you'll see that we have this strip size. So there's 7 in my example. I used 7 strips to represent 7 normals and 7 masks. Now the sort of default way you want to call it, or the most sort of popular way of creating edge mesh decal materials would be to actually sculpt the asset itself. So you bake the low and high, and you take the normal, and then you put everything together in a mesh decal, and so on and so forth. But to be honest, I find that this way of just simply taking these normal strips in any sort of Photoshop sort of program and just laying them down one after the other. Like here I just found 7 normal maps and just laid them down, and all the effort was in trying to make these different masks here. So once you have your normals, then you just go into any paint program you have and just try and make, again, in these 7 strips, different types of masks that you could use. And once you do that, you can just come here and replace them here for the opacity and here for the normals. And again, you will have different, or 7 variations of each. So it's really a great way to create these mesh decals. Not only is it super easy to apply, but it's super easy to make, and it's also super optimized because number one, you got 7-on-1 texture sheet, and you can also bake them. And one thing I forgot to mention is that if you come here to the material, and if I come here to this part here, as I said, the repeat or the world space repeat spacing together with the repeat world work in conjunction with the material that I've made together with the plugin. So if you want to create your own material and you want the world space repeat spacing to be active on your material, you would need to copy this custom primitive data, the path scale and path offset to work with yours. So you just copy this part here, depending on what you're trying to do, but this is the way that you would make it work so that this part also works with yours. So that's it about this new tool in XDP, Mesh Edge Decals. I do have another video that I do explain what mesh edge decals are that I did a very long time ago. If you want to watch it, I'll leave the link below, but this is definitely a new way of actually placing those now on real assets in real world very fast. So with that, guys, thanks for watching. I'll keep on posting any new videos with new features as we go forward, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.